AgWeek weather is sponsored by Bremer Bank. Connect with a banker today at bremer.com.
August has officially begun, so what can the region expect when it comes to weather? Here's John with our AgriWeather outlook.
Almost right on cue now in early August. A little bit of a shift in the jet stream, a subtle one at that, will allow for a supply of much cooler weather into the northern plains and Great Lakes region than what we've been seeing so far this summer. The high heat and humidity that's been around, North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota for so much of July will shift a little southward. And it's also going to drop the storms, or the main primary focus of big storms, a little bit further south and east along with it. Another interesting development, much of the month of July has been fairly quiet in the tropical Atlantic. It's been fairly dusty over the Atlantic because of some Saharan dust, and that's beginning to clear up a little bit, starting to see some signs of tropical storms, hurricane potential that might be impacting the Gulf Coast or perhaps the eastern seaboard, more likely the Gulf Coast initially. So here's what we're talking about. We've been dealing with flow out of the northwest, and that really isn't changing. The only thing that's different is that we're seeing a little bit of a strengthening of this classic Hudson Bay low period and a rather odd split in the jet over northwestern North America, which will take a large low pressure area and basically shift the jet stream a little further south. Flow out of the north is not necessarily cool in summer. What's most important is which side of the main jet are you on? And in this case, we're going to see the jet drop a little bit further south and west. So it's still going to be hot in the high plains, much of the south. I don't see much change at all. In the Rocky Mountains in the west, it'll continue to be stormy at times over the Colorado Rockies, but over the western mountains, it's going to remain fairly dry. The main difference is a little push of cooler temperatures that with that heat and humidity shift, that'll send the stormy weather pattern down into the southeastern states and the southern part of the Midwest. As we head toward this next weekend, we'll continue to see cooler temperatures coming out of Hudson Bay and into the northern plains. Now, it's August. It's not going to be cold air, and there hasn't been much momentum for a building up of cold air. It's just going to be cooler than average. So we're going to see a bit of a change into the northern plains. Still plenty of heat in the south, the southern plains, and the western states. As we move on into the second week, I think we'll continue to see that slightly cooler weather pattern. There are some signs of the heat trying to build up again. I just think through the mid part of August, it's not going to get that hot in the northern plains just yet. Showers and storms, and some of these will be fairly heavy, potentially some tropical moisture getting up into the southeastern states, and I think we'll expand the monsoonal rain to cover much of the Rocky Mountain states in the west, and that will actually extend in the Pacific Northwest for the second week. Northern plains weather, Great Lakes weather, a little bit drier.